Recently, on the Jinger and Jeremy podcast, Austin opened up about a moment that forced him to draw a clear line with producers. Specifically, we're talking about the birth of his first child, Gideon, who's now 6 years old. Apparently, the show was all set to capture every blissful and probably painful moment of that birth, just as it had for some of the other Duggar sisters. Remember Jess's birth episodes? Jill's? The family had already set the precedent for filming these milestones. But Austin said, "Hold up, I'm not okay with that." Austin said he flat out told the film crew, "I don't want you guys in the delivery room." And oh boy, did that cause a stir behind the scenes. According to him, he took a lot of heat for that decision. Now, I'm just picturing the frantic producers going, but we need the footage for the next episode arc. Because, let's face it, real-life births draw huge viewership. People love that up-close, raw feeling of seeing a new family member arrive. However, for Austin, this was an intimate event that he simply wasn't comfortable making public. And if you think about it, a birth is deeply personal, medical aspects, raw emotions, primal screaming sometimes. The fact that Joanna's siblings had allowed cameras for their births almost made it seem like a Duggar tradition to share that moment with the audience. But Austin didn't see it that way, and he held firm, even though it went against the grain of the family's on-camera norms. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so he didn't want the birth filmed. Big deal. But the conversation didn't stop there. Austin also confessed that he never fully trusted the producers or the camera crew from day one. In his words, he felt like they were trying to entrap him. Yikes. That's a strong word, entrap. It suggests he believed producers were angling to get certain reactions, maybe even to twist his words in post-production. I'm sure most of us have watched at least one reality show where we wondered, how much of this is creative editing versus real drama? Producers do have a job to make an engaging narrative out of everyday life. But Austin's experience seems to have struck a nerve, leading him to choose his words carefully whenever the camera was rolling. According to him, a producer straight up told him, "We just wanted something spontaneous," implying that Austin's hesitation made it hard to get raw material. What about Joanna Duggar Forsyth, you ask? She's the actual Duggar daughter, the one who grew up in front of cameras. You might assume she'd be totally fine with filming big family moments. After all, that's what her sisters did. But Austin's comments suggest that while Joanna might have been used to it, they ultimately decided as a couple that Gideon's birth was off-limits for the camera crew. Since Joanna had previously followed the family pattern, special episodes about courtships, engagements, that sort of thing, maybe it was a relief for her to see Austin step in and say, "No, we need this moment private." Or maybe it was a bit conflicting because she'd always played by the show's rules. Either way, they appear to have navigated it together, and Gideon's birth footage never aired on Counting On. Of course, Counting On wrapped in 2021, following some controversies involving the broader family. Nowadays, Austin and Joanna have a life that's far from the constant presence of TLC cameras. One minute you're scheduling confessionals and orchestrating storyline arcs, and the next you're hauling moving boxes without anyone filming you from the driveway. Speaking of moving boxes, Joanna announced on Instagram that the family just changed addresses, a big move after almost 5 years in their previous home. She posted a picture of the sweaty bunch mid-move, captioning it, "We're so excited to see what the next few years hold." Which begs the question, are these next few years going to be mostly under the radar, or will we see them pop up on a different show, in a cameo, or maybe in a YouTube docuseries about life post-reality TV? As of now, it seems they're enjoying the quiet. Austin's story is a window into a common conflict in reality TV. How much is too much? Certain shows revolve around dramatizing every personal milestone, births, deaths, breakups, weddings, meltdowns, you name it. The star power often hinges on the willingness to share. But for some participants, lines do exist, and crossing them feels invasive or even exploitative. Producers, on the other hand, argue that authenticity is what sells. If viewers sense that a big chunk of your life is off-limits, they might lose interest. So there's this unspoken dance. Do you give them everything and risk feeling overexposed? Or do you hold back and risk being labeled as difficult or uncooperative? Austin clearly decided that no matter the cost, filming his newborn's arrival was one boundary he wasn't willing to cross. Reading between the lines, it seems like Austin and Joanna feel a sense of relief now that Counting On is off the air. They're raising their kids without the glare of the reality TV spotlight, which might be especially nice for Gideon, Evelyn, and Gunnar, who won't have to see cameras in their face every week. But as we know, the Duggars still command public interest. There's an entire community following their every move on social media, analyzing cryptic Instagram captions, and so on. At the same time, stepping away from a TV show can be a financial and social challenge. Shows often provide income and platforms for big brand deals. If you're used to that exposure, it can be a strange adjustment to fade from the public eye. Yet Austin's words hint that he values a more private life. In a way, it's refreshing to see someone who experienced reality TV say, "Hey, I learned my limits, and I'm good without that level of scrutiny." Don't get me wrong, it's not impossible we'll see them on camera again in some capacity. Maybe a special reunion episode, or maybe even a docu-series about the Duggars in a few years' time. Stranger things have happened. Plenty of reality stars vow they'll never return, only to pop up on a spin-off or a YouTube channel. But for now, it looks like they're embracing the normalcy of off-camera life. No scheduled confessionals, no forced group outings for story arcs, no dealing with producers who want you to open up more than you're comfortable with.
And you know what?
Good for them. Everyone deserves the right to decide how they share their private moments. If anything, I hope more reality TV participants feel empowered to say, "Nah, I'm not filming that." Maybe it would lead to more genuine shows where boundaries are respected. Or maybe producers would find the next big family who's game for everything. Either way, it's worth considering the cost of that kind of openness. Okay, so now that we've covered the key points, Austin's distrust, his refusal to film Gideon's birth, and his newfound sense of relief. I want your thoughts. Are you team private birth, personal choice, or team that's reality TV, baby, camera should roll? Does Austin's admission change how you view the Counting On era? Or were you always suspicious that at least one Duggar-in-law might not be fully on board? Drop a comment. Let's get a conversation brewing, because if there's one thing I love, it's hearing from you guys. That's it for me today, folks. This is Julie signing off. Thank you so much for tuning in, for hitting that like button, and for being the awesome community you are. I can't wait to read your comments below and see where you stand on this whole Austin Forsyth saga. Until next time, stay curious, stay opinionated, and stay fabulous. Bye, everyone.